Hi, everyone. Welcome. I know y'all haven't seen me since Sunday night. So come on in, come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button as you come in. And if you want to share me out, share me out. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys that has come on here. Um, Honey, I have a lot we're gonna get into the stories and stuff like that. I'm just gonna say this, like, you know, your girl's been going through it. Your girl's been going through it, but I thank God that, um, I'm still here to look, tell the story, child. I thank God I'm still here to tell the story. So I do appreciate, the ones that has reached out to me and checked on me. Um, I am doing well. Some things that has happened to me that kind of like I had to just take a little mini break, not because of anything someone has done to me, but just something happened and I had to, take care of that. Um, but yeah, um, guys. So come on in and let's get into it. Just waiting for some people to come in, and then we're gonna get into it. Um, just waiting a few moments here. Yep. So I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna. In a minute when people come in, I'm gonna tell you guys what happened to me on Monday, and then we're gonna get into the trial. Oh my God. Sometimes when it rains, it's pouring, but thank God you're still here to tell the story. Let me just say that. Thank God you're still here to tell the story, and I'm thankful to God for being able to still be here to tell this story. Um, so I'm just gonna wait a few minutes here, and then we're gonna get into it. Um, I know it take. Hey, Christine, how are you? How are you today, Christine? Um, Make sure you guys are hitting that like button as you come in. I hope you had a good day today, Christine. I hope you had a good day on today. Um, um, yes, honey. I You just got done eating a bucket of chicken, honey. I should have ate something besides what I ate, but I ate something simple. I am drinking wine, and girl, it seems like like Monday. Okay, so Monday, I had an accident. Well, really, I didn't really have an accident. I was a part of an accident, and and um, I'm just gonna say this: like, I got hit from behind on Monday, so I was dealing with some pains. So I decided to not go live. Then I was still kind of tired. Salt of the earth. This is salt of the earth, honey. Salt of the earth, red wine. Um, it's it's good. It's good. I'm feeling fine, girl. Um, Let me just tell you this, honey. Woke up this morning, got ready for work, and couldn't find the keys to my vehicle, and almost lost my job, my part-time job with the police, well, being a crossing guard. Um, so like this week has been a tough week for me. Like it has really been a tough week, but I am here to tell the story. Let me just say that I am here to tell the story. Um, I'm definitely here to tell the story. That's all I. Yes, Christine. Can you take this off? Come on. You got them on the wrong foot. I'm not hurt. They should put them on. Okay. Go sit down. Okay, honey. But yeah. Hold on just a minute, guys. So welcome in everyone that has joined in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. I know you guys been wondering where I've been. And so Monday, guys, I had a whole car. I was in a car accident where someone hit me from behind. It was a real bad thing. Yes, that was Jayla. And I'm okay. I just had a little neck pain and a little back pain, but I'm good. Just, just was a little shell shocked. Yeah, so but that was Jayla. So guys, I done gave y'all a little update on me. Okay, so what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk about the Derek Chauvin trial and some of the key witnesses on the trial and how we feel about their testimony and how really and how we really want. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. Miss Sheila Shoemaker, honey, I done had a week, honey. You might see me with the wine glass till Sunday. Let me just say that I done had accident, done lost my keys, done Lord, every other day is something. I just want to have a good birthday weekend, So I'm just gonna say, welcome to the live. We're gonna listen to some of these testimonies, guys, in a minute. Hey, King Chris World, how are you? How are you? How are you? Yes. I'm just going to be honest, guys. Some of these testimonies, like for them to relive it, it's like I'm gonna ask y'all from what we have seen, from what you guys and for what I have seen on the Derek Chauvin trial. What do you think? What do you think of it so far? Like, is this it to me? It seems like these people that are really because come on with it, girl. Like this to see these people relive that moment. It was to see people relive that moment, and it was just so. It was so tearful. It was so, how can I put it? It was like so sad to see these people retell this story for a child to hey ASM Margaret Dominique, to retell this story and the emotions that come out of it, the feeling that, they still live with the guilt of like we should have stopped this before it got out of hand, and he could have still be living. Even the store clerk would have just said, maybe if I wouldn't have took the $20 bill, he would still be living. But we living in a world of circumstances, you know? And so, just to hear that store clerk get kind of like emotional and feeling kind of sad and feel like he was at fault, but just because he took the $20 and then called the police, he felt like he was at fault. Everyone is feeling like they was a part of the reason why he passed away and the reason why he ended up dead. That everybody's trying to take ownership. Only person that's not really taking ownership for is Derek Chauvin. It seems like they're putting George Floyd on trial. And not Derek Chauvin. I feel like they're putting George Floyd, the MMA fighter, the older gentleman, everyone is on trial except of George Floyd, Derek Chauvin's and his actions. They're trying to make he was on drugs, but should you even though it was a counterfeit, even if it was, but it wasn't. I think it wasn't a counterfeit 20, and for what I understand, and from the videos that I saw, it really like he died over a $20 bill. $20. $20. And I don't understand. It's sad. But we're going to listen to the first person I want to listen to, guys, is the 911 dispatcher. She was the first person. We'll listen to some parts of her interview, and you guys tell me what you think. She was the first person that they called to the stand. The prosecution called to the stand. Let's see, can we get it up here? So if you could do that, please. All right, guys, can you hear it? Let's see, can we get it up here? All right, guys, can you hear it? Okay. Okay, so they are showing. Hold on. I want you all to hear the interview.
Driver's side backseat.
Okay, listen.
This is when I started watching again.
So for the record, the timestamp at the top reflects 8/19/25. So this is what you mean by them having him on the ground?
Correct.
Do you recall how long you were able to watch around this time?
No, honestly, I was in and out of looking at the cameras and then going back to my screens to make sure I wasn't missing anything, added remarks, getting out calls, and then would go back to the screen again.
Now, and actually I think what I'll do is just pause it here. After seeing this, at some point, then did you look back to the screen?
To back to working?
No, back to this video of the
Yes,
scene.
I was in and out of looking at this screen and then my work.
And at some point then did you go back to this and
Hold on, y'all.
I first asked, no.
People in the
I didn't pay attention to the surroundings of what was going on. I just know that they hadn't moved.
All right. But at some point, did you see other like citizens in the video?
I cannot remember seeing them. I just remembered looking up and seeing that the situation hadn't changed.
Do you recall approximately how long that was?
No, it was long enough. It was long enough that I could look back multiple times.
And so when you did look back, still on the ground, like depicted here, essentially.
Correct.
And what did you think about this when you looked back and saw that it hadn't changed?
I first asked if the screens had frozen.
Why did you ask that?
Because it hadn't changed.
Okay. And did you find that it had frozen?
No.
How did
Well,
you
I was told that it was not frozen.
Did you see the screen change yourself?
Yes, I saw the person's moving.
So what did you start thinking at that point?
Something might be wrong.
Why?
We don't get these videos often, or, video at all, unless it's looking at the bridge or just looking at people walking. We very rarely get incidents where police are actively on a scene. And they had changed. They had come from the back of the squad to the ground, and my instincts were telling me that something's wrong. Something is not right. I don't know what, but something wasn't right.
In what ways were you thinking that something was not right?
It was an extended period of time. Again, I can't tell you the exact amount of time. And they hadn't told me if they needed any more resources. It's a multitude of different things that ran through my brain. But I became concerned that something might be wrong.
Wrong with what? What are you thinking?
It was a gut instinct of, in the incident, something's not going right. Whether it be they needed more assistance, or if there just something wasn't right. I don't know how to explain it. It was a gut instinct to tell me that now we can be concerned.
And what did you decide to do?
I took that instinct and I called the sergeant.
And do you recall who the sergeant was that you talked to?
It was Sergeant Pluger.
And why did you call a sergeant?
The sergeant is the police officer's supervisor.
You're not a Minneapolis police officer.
No.
You haven't gone through like the use of force training.
No.
But in your experience, you felt something was wrong here that a sergeant needed to know about.
Correct. If this was a form of use of force, I was calling to let them know.
Why would you involve a sergeant in a call that might involve the use of force?
Sergeants are usually always notified for use of force.
And so did you in fact call Sergeant Pluger?
I did.
Have you ever in your career before called a sergeant for something like this?
Multiple. For an incident like this?
Right.
To be exact, no.
Where you had this instinct and felt something was wrong and you needed to call a sergeant about it. Have you ever had that incident or that situation before this incident?
If something was wrong with a call, yes. And not, I don't know how to say this, not if, I can call the sergeant for anything because they are a resource. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I can call them regarding calls if something doesn't look right in a call, if there's a caution note, if there's something that they can do beyond the scope of the call, I can call them.
And have you had a chance to listen to a recording of that call you actually made?
Yes.
And that recording is made as part of the business of the call.
Okay, guys, that is some of the testimony of the first witness in the Derek Chauvin's case. Now, she is the 911 dispatcher, and I guess she had access to the streets. And I see that it seemed like she was kind of doubting herself. I felt like she was doubting herself, like when she said, I felt like the screen was frozen. and I knew something was going on. Instead of just saying, instead of just saying refresh the screen or whatever, she could have just said something is going on and he's sitting on this man's neck. I'm glad that she did call the the chief or whatever for excessive force, because this was obsessive force. You sit on someone's neck for 9 minutes. That is obsessive force. And this has to stop. Like, this was not good. So that is the first person. Now, guys, who I really, really, really want you guys to pay attention to is the MMA fighter. It seems as though they try to paint the MMA fighter out as a it seems like they try to make him out as a aggressive black man. Just allow me a moment. Let me pull him up. Excuse me. Hey, Bacon with Charlene, how you doing? Okay, so let me get this up. Just allow me a moment. Okay, this is some of his testimony. Just allow me a moment. Okay.
9 you start.
Correct.
Through 2020, correct?
Correct.
How often during that time period are you in the gym training?
That's Monday through Friday. Like, I devoted my life to mixed martial arts, and my kids' life to mixed martial arts. So it's a 40 hours or more a week job at the Minnesota Martial Arts Academy. I was in there majority in the mornings from 10 a.m. to sometimes 3 in the afternoon, training for hopefully a fight.
So the Mixed Martial Arts Academy, that's the business where you train?
That is the gym I train at, correct.
And when you were training there, did you ever did you ever train with Minneapolis police officers who were there?
Correct.
Describe that for the jury, please.
Not everybody, they don't always let you know that they're cop or CIA agent or FBI agent, but we all kind of link together because they're trying to learn how to be able to defend different chokes or be able to detain different people. So Greg Nelson, which is the head professor there, he's a unique guy. He's been able to work close with the military and the Army and the combative team. So we get a lot of Army combative people coming in and training with us just so they can learn how to, defend themselves in war, I take it. And so I've been training next to some of them for, like I said, a decade.
And some of them are Minneapolis police officers training.
Yep, that is correct. And they're not all Minneapolis Police Department. They're from all different precincts, all different backgrounds of the law enforcement.
So when you're training in mixed martial arts, is part of the ultimate goal to get the other person to submit?
Yeah, that's the goal of it. Everybody gets into martial arts for different reasons. As you're rolling and understanding it, yes, your whole thing is to be able to get the person to submit. When you do put a choke or a different submission on.
So let me talk to you about that. So you're trained on what are called chokeholds.
Correct.
And what kind of training do you receive to do a chokehold?
Well, you go into a basic class. They teach you the basic techniques of jiu-jitsu, how to be able to defend yourself on the back, how to be able to defend off of a choke, and how to be able to put someone in a choke as well. And those are some of the basics that we learn from them.
So if we talk about specifically chokeholds involving the neck,
correct,
did you also have to learn about the structures in the neck that can lead to a chokehold?
Correct. And there's air chokes and there's blood chokes. And
did you also have to learn about? So explain the first two.
Air choke is more of like choking someone, they still have air to breathe in there. and they're able to, absorb it and feel it, and then you also have a choke where it's a blood choke where it specifically attacks the side of the neck and it specifically cuts off the circulation of your arteries and stops the different blood flowing from top of your head to the bottom of your head. And sometimes you could get in a blood choke and not know you're in a blood choke until you're unconscious.
Wow.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded.
Let me just say this. His name is Donald Williams. I'm just gonna say, Mr. Williams, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about. He's doing a good job. He did a good job with explaining his understanding of everything. And they tried to paint him out as though he was an aggressive black man because of the fact that he was calling them trash and calling them this and calling them that. So, you can't, I just feel like he did a good job. We're going to listen to a little bit more of him and some of the things he said. This is one where he describes George Floyd pleading for his life. I'm going to let you guys listen to that. Listen in.
And we've heard you. The testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do, sir. The gestures and the movements is from his shoulders to the top. And he's just doing it with his knees, not, it's not an actual choke with the hands out. He's actually putting the same pressure as you would with your neck. And like I said, every time his shoulder is moving, he's pushing that pressure down on his neck. He was going through distress because of the knee. And he vocalized it that I can't breathe, I need to get up, and I'm sorry. And his eyes slowly rose to the back of his head. You seen the blood coming out of his nose. You heard him tell him before he stopped speaking that my stomach hurts. And those, most of the times, is the last bowel movement of your life. So from there on, he was lifeless. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He didn't have no life in him no more on his body movements. And you actually could hear him. You could see him struggling to actually gasp for air while he was trying to breathe.
Wow. Wow. This black man here, he is what we're gonna listen to. He's okay, so we're gonna do the one where he explains why he called the police on the police. First we're going to listen to him. Like I said, man, Derek Chauvin, like, just he need to take ownership for something. Cause like, you can't say that you was not at fault. You were at fault for this. So he made a call to the 911. He made a call to 911 on the police. Listen in.
Officer 987 killed a citizen in front of a Chicago store. He just pretty much just killed this guy that wasn't resisting arrest. He had his knee on the dude's neck the whole time. Officer 987, the man went stopped breathing. He wasn't resisting arrest or nothing. He was already in handcuffs. They pretty much just killed the dude. I don't even know if he's dead for sure, but he was not responsible when the ambulance just came and got him. And the officer that was just out here left, the one that actually just murdered the kid in front of everybody on 38th in Chicago.
Okay. Would you like to speak with the sergeant?
Yeah, like that was bogus what they just did to this man. He was unresponsive. He wasn't resisting arrest for any of it.
Okay, let me get you over to the desk before we request to speak with the sergeant, okay?
Yeah, and I'm sitting here talking with another off-duty firefighter that just stayed here watching in front of us as well. Okay. And she told him to check the man's pulse, but they wouldn't even check the pulse.
Okay, 1 second. I have reached the city of Minneapolis to reach someone in our property crimes division.
Y'all murderers, bro. Y'all murderers, Kyle. You gonna kill yourself. I already know it. 2 more years. You gonna shoot yourself. Murderers, bro. Y'all niggas is murderers, bro. Minneapolis Third Precinct.
Hey, it's dispatch.
Yeah, man. So I want to speak to the supervisor. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he wants to speak with the supervisor relating to 320 cause cup boots.
Put that man in front of the store, the post.
2033-46, May 25, 2020.
Okay, so that's him calling the police on the police. And as he's listening to this, he is crying. Like, it does something to me when you see a grown man cry. A man cry, it just does something to me when you see a man cry. And the sad part about it is they still try to paint him as though he was basically being kind of aggressive. And I just don't understand. But we're going to listen to a little bit further of this. Just allow me a moment to take this off. But hello, Washington County News Station, Utah. Thank you for coming. So let's listen in a little bit.
You get into a half Nelson and you.
Hold on.
You are also, at times, have rendered people unconscious and been rendered unconscious yourself.
Correct.
Through one of these chokeholds.
Correct.
All right. Now, you described these chokeholds generally yesterday. These chokeholds, like you described an air choke and a blood choke.
Correct.
You remember your conversation about that yesterday?
Yes, correct.
All right. So when you use these forms of chokeholds, whether it's an air choke or a blood choke, they use those in various forms of martial arts, right? Like judo, Krav Maga. A chokehold is sort of across the board in terms of martial arts.
Correct.
With the exception of maybe the stick fighting, right?
Correct.
All right. And you testified that at your academy, you train with a lot of law enforcement officers, military people, and law enforcement from both state and federal levels, right?
That is correct.
And you said sometimes you don't even know that that's what they do, right?
That's correct, depending on what level.
And sometimes you get to know these guys because you're fighting with them, right?
Yeah.
You're training with them, and they tell you a little bit about their lives, right?
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, we just build a brotherhood of the gym. You know, some people interact outside with personal life. Some people just interact in the gyms, you know, and build relationships. I see on an everyday basis. Like at work, I go in, I see you every day, I interact with you there. Then I'm going to interact with you outside of work, you know.
Right.
And then there's some that I interact with outside of the gym.
But I just want to make sure you've never officially been invited to go to like the Minneapolis Police Academy to train law enforcement in the use of force.
No.
Or the use of these chokeholds.
No.
And or any other police academy for that reason.
No, I witnessed my sensei, Greg Nelson.
I'm asking about you, sir. Have you ever officially been asked to train police officers specifically in the use of chokeholds?
No, just witnessed it.
Okay. Now, air chokes. You described air chokes yesterday. Air chokes are from the front, correct?
Correct.
And that's because what you're doing is you're actually cutting off the air
Correct.
to the trachea,
Correct.
right? So you can render someone unconscious by coming from the front of the neck and cutting off their airway, which renders them unconscious.
Repeat that.
Sure. An air choke is a front choke, agreed?
Yeah.
And what you're doing in an air choke is you're cutting off the air supply or the oxygen supply from the front of the neck, correct?
Correct.
And in doing so, you can render a person unconscious, correct?
On an air choke, I'm not a medical person, so I won't answer that.
Okay?
No.
On a blood choke, right, what you're doing is you're cutting off, and you described yesterday, the blood supply to the brain, right?
Okay. Side choke. Correct.
A side choke. And you described several different types of chokeholds, like the revert or the rear naked chokehold, I think it's called, or the triangle. What you're doing is you're actually cutting off the blood supply to both sides of the neck in those.
Repeat that.
When you do a blood choke, what you're trained on generally is to limit the blood supply to both sides of the neck.
No, a blood choke is attack one side of the neck.
It's just one side of the neck. Okay.
The blood choke is attack the side of the neck. So I choked from here, side of the neck.
Right, but you're using your weight and you're actually cutting off both sides. You're using your body and your arm, right? And you're actually protecting the trachea or the airway in the crux of your.
You're mixing chokes, so you're mixing your air chokes and your blood chokes together. Air choke is to attack the trachea. The side choke is to attack the side of the neck.
So if I have someone in a chokehold, right, and a blood chokehold using my arm, I may have my hand behind that person, right? No,
it's not. I'm attacking the side of the neck, not the trachea. You're attacking the trachea. I'm attacking the side choke.
I'm saying that the trachea is protected by the crux of the elbow. And so you're using the forearm and the bicep to cut off both sides of the blood.
I'm sorry, y'all, but this is...
And you've done some like kind of doorman stuff, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Bouncing, I guess, is what I would call it. And you said that you have worked alongside the Minneapolis Police Department in those club type situations with off-duty officers and on-duty officers.
That is correct.
Okay. In that capacity, have you ever had to deal with a crowd of people?
That is correct.
Have you ever had to deal with a crowd of people that was upset?
Definitely.
Is it easier or harder to deal with a crowd that is upset?
Each person is different. Me, I'm able to deal with the high capacity of distractions, different things going on, and still be able to be professional and focus on what's going on in front of me.
Okay. And have you ever been involved in a situation where there's a crowd that's upset and you were afraid of them?
Correct.
I'd like to direct your attention to the incident on May 25th of 2020 that you've testified about. You were shown an exhibit yesterday that shows that you arrived at the Cup Foods on the 30th.
Okay, guys. So if you want, I know everybody have watched this, but I'm gonna say this. Like I said, he did let me take his picture off the screen. He did a wonderful job with being professional. I'm just gonna give him my hats off to that for being professional. He was very professional, and he did not answer questions that he did not have an answer to. Like, if he wasn't a medical professional, then he didn't answer it. And I respect him for that. Like, it seemed like they wanted to push him to say something, but they couldn't get it out of him. They're trying to discredit him, and I understand that's what the defense is for. But I just don't believe that, like, Derek Chauvin was scared for his life. So, these people are all upset. So that's the reason why I continue to put my foot on his neck. My knee on his neck. I just don't believe he was scared. Do you guys feel like, because it seemed like they're trying to insinuate that he was afraid for his life. And I know there was a lie. All those police officers that were there, and they were just saying, this man is dying, and y'all are not doing anything about it. So I don't get it. I may be wrong now. I may be wrong, but he's not. I just don't feel like he was afraid for his life. I just don't believe that Derek Chauvin was afraid of his life for his life that caused him to. He was more of the aggressor anyway. He was more of the aggressor. So, as you guys know, right, not with your hand in your pocket. You can't be afraid. So, we're gonna talk about the little girl. Hold on, let me make sure. Hold on, guys. Let me mute this. If there was so afraid, they would have picked him up and arrested him, put George in a car, and been done with it. But okay, so some new videos has came out, and I'm gonna say this: new videos has came out, and they have show where they had him in the car, but he kept saying that he has claustrophobia and he hasn't done anything, and they kept putting him in the car, and then he ended up out the car, and that's how Derek Chauvin ended up putting his knee on his neck. Now let me just say this. How is a man a threat when he is in handcuffs? That's the only question I have. How is someone a threat if they are in a handcuff? Answer that for me, guys. How are they a person a threat when they are in handcuffs? Someone answer that question for me. How can someone be a threat if someone's in handcuffs? Hey, Kicking It with Lee. Chris said being black. Right. Being black. So the next one is, if I didn't know at the time, guys, but there are a underage child or an underage teenager that was there that recorded that video that went viral. So listen to some of her interview as well. Tell me what you think.
Your cousin was?
Maybe 12. I'm not sure.
Maybe 9.
Maybe.
Now you're walking to Cup Foods. Where were you walking from?
Home.
So you live nearby?
Yes.
Would you describe Cup Foods as the neighborhood store?
Yes.
Now the jury may have heard something about this being a dangerous neighborhood. Were you concerned for your safety in walking with your cousin to Cup Foods?
No.
If you had to estimate, how many times would you say you walked to Cup Foods from your home in the neighborhood?
Hundreds, maybe even thousands.
So you and your cousin walk into Cup Foods. What were you going there for? Do you remember?
I was taking her to get some snacks.
Your cousin loves snacks.
Yes.
So let's go to May 25th of 2020, and I want to show you a couple of things just to set the scene for our discussion. I want to show you what's been marked for identification purposes, for our purposes, as Exhibit 13. Your Honor, I think I need a handle. Okay, I got one.
Oh.
First of all, other people started to gather with it.
Not even a minute in.
And could you estimate roughly how many others were just there around you who were also observing what was happening?
Maybe about 12, 14.
something around that maybe.
If I showed you a picture of those who were there, might you recognize those who might have been present with you? Let's see. Ready for exhibit 184.
Refresh memory, is that correct?
Yes, John, just one moment. Let me make sure it's just that only that she can see.
I've already got it.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Please.
All right. I want you to describe the nature and character of the persons gathered together there. Would you describe yourselves as an unruly mob or an unruly crowd?
This is Dan. Now, overall, I think that's the only way to get an answer. Is after this answer. Go ahead.
No, I would say everyone were reacting multiple different ways from what they were seeing, which it wasn't right. We all know it wasn't right.
The last part of the answer is stricken. I'd like a sidebar with counsel.
Okay, so that's some of her testimony, the child testimony that her face was not shown. But why are they trying to make them out as an angry mob? They wasn't an angry mob. They were just seeing an injustice. They were seeing that this man had this man's foot on knee on this man's neck. And you think that, an angry mob is going to cause you to kill someone over $20? Let it make sense. Like, so you're innocent. This is what they're saying. They're innocent because it was an angry mob after Derek Chauvin. Like, they were related. He said, but I ain't laughing at that, y'all. I'm sorry. But you sat up here and said that this makes me angry because it seemed as though they only looking at the people and how they were acting, but they're not talking about how this man was an aggressor, how he constantly was like, he had multiple people complaining on him about how he was he was using excessive force, but they wanted to talk about an angry mob. Now, how an angry mob is a group of people. I felt like a group of people that's attacking someone. They just was walking to the store and they see this happening and they're like, oh my God, like, this is not right. What you're doing is not right. So how was that an angry mob? Lord, I guess anything, I guess anything will work to try to get this man off. Anything will work. We'll try to get this man off. But I know that was not an angry mob. There was a group of people that seemed like, man, you got your knee on this man's neck and he can't breathe. Y'all are wrong for this. And so, y'all are like, the police is so wrong for this. So the next, because I'm trying to catch everything up. I'm supposed to have been covering this all this week, and I probably will cover every testimony, everything, for the George Floyd trial until it ends and we get a verdict. That's what I'm going to do. I know, and we're just going to have a discussion on it. Now Friday is my birthday, so Friday night I probably have a birthday celebration. I want you guys to know that. So come in and give your girl some love, some love. Let me see here. We're going to listen to the off-duty firefighter. Yeah, the firefighter testimony and how the police wouldn't allow her to give him any attention. Now, I'm just going to let y'all listen to this. It's like a 4-minute clip. Says this is her testimony, somewhat of her
powerful testimony in the murder trial of former police officer Derek Chauvin, the man accused of killing George Floyd. Jurors heard from some of the bystanders, including the teenager who recorded the video that sparked nationwide protests. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live with more on day 2 of the trial. Rob,
hold on, y'all. Oh,
Ross, the infamous scene.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me get the actual audio. And then, like, hold on, y'all.
My name is...
Hold on just a minute. Like, okay, guys. So I am going to play this for you guys. This is the firefighter, the off-duty firefighter that the police officers did not allow to administer help to George Floyd. Like, oh, all these people that could help this man, and y'all wouldn't get this man no help.
You first approached, you said you identified yourself as a firefighter.
Correct.
To whom did you identify yourself?
To Officer Tao, controlling the scene. I spoke loudly enough that I would think that the other 3 officers would have been able to hear me throughout the event.
We know you weren't. Well, let me ask you this way. How did Officer Tao respond?
He said something along the lines of, if you really are a Minneapolis firefighter, you would know better than to get involved.
What did you think of that?
First, I was worried that he wasn't going to believe me and not let me help. And I also, that's not right. I mean, that's exactly what I should have done. There was no medical assistance on scene, and I got there and I could have given medical assistance. That's exactly what I should have done.
So based on your training and experience and what you had seen, what did you want to do for this person on the ground?
Had they let me into the scene, I already had decided what his level of consciousness was, so I would have requested additional help. I would have wanted someone to call 911 for the paramedics and fire to come. I would have asked someone to run to the gas station and look for an AED. And I would have checked his airway. I would have been worried about a spinal cord injury because he had so much weight on his neck. I would have opened his airway to check if there were any obstructions. And I would have checked for a pulse. And when I didn't find a pulse, if that was the case, I would have started compressions. And I didn't have my bed bag, so I would have continued compressions. We don't give mouth to mouth anymore. So I would have continued compressions at a rate of 100 a minute until help arrived.
And by compressions, what do you mean?
I would have put my hands, stacked my hands and pressed his chest.
Chest compressions.
Chest compressions,
yep.
Correct, yeah.
And what's the point of doing chest compressions?
Pumping the blood for somebody that's not doing that themselves, trying to get a pulse back.
And were you able to do that, any of those steps?
No, sir.
Why weren't you able to do any of that?
Because the officers didn't let me in to the scene. I also offered, in my memory, I offered to walk them through it, or told them, if he doesn't have a pulse, you need to start compressions, and that wasn't done either.
And so are these things that you wanted to do?
It's what I would have done for anybody.
When you couldn't do that, how did that make you feel?
Totally distressed.
Were you frustrated?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Ms. Hanson, as I told you, we can take our time. So feel free to just take a minute. Need a drink of water, go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories.
So guys, that is some partial of the testimony of the firefighter. Her name was Genevieve Hanson. And to hear this lady just cry that she couldn't help save his life, that lady could have saved his life. They had someone that could save his man's life, but instead they just sat there and let that man wither and die. Shame on you, Derek Chauvin. Shame on you to the other officers that were charged in George Floyd's death. Shame on you. She knew that this man was unconscious. She knew he was at the brink of death. But instead of you rendering him help, getting her to render him help, you decide to just let him die. And look where you at now. This is like, he deserves to go to jail. I'm sorry, like, he deserves to go to jail. And for these people to sit back and cry and relive what they saw, it's heartbreaking, because it's hard to retell a story and watch someone die and you can't do nothing about it. Do you know how hard it is to just watch someone die and you can't help them? This is like a cancer patient that you know that is dying, but you don't want them to die. And you see them so helpless and so sick, and there's nothing you can do about it but watch them die. That is the most hardest thing. Then think about it. They feel as though they are at fault. They feel like they are at fault for the reason why George Floyd died, because they couldn't render him any help. But how we know, if they would have came, and this is the crazy part about it, if they would have came and tried to stop him, how it would have been more than just George Floyd that was dead, because the police would have used a gun or tasers and things like that because they're such an angry mob. Come on now. Like, it's sad. It's sad. It's just sad for us to go through this in 2020, 2021. We got to do better, guys. No one deserves for someone to sit on the back of their neck and to watch them die. And then for someone that could save their life not be able to render them any help. Hey, James Got Guy. Make sure you guys check out James Got Guy. Thank you so much for coming. Like, this is sad. Like, Derek Chauvin, he deserves everything that's coming his way. And that's just honest. I honestly feel like he deserves it. So the next testimony is okay. Before I give the one of the older gentlemen, I wanted to give the one of the store clerk. He gives his account. The former store clerk feels guilty about. He feels guilty about the death. He does. Yeah, Sheila. We're gonna listen to some of the store clerk's testimony. Just give me a minute here to pull everything up.
You were talking about when your coworker got pushed.
Correct.
And did you see it all anywhere in there where he touched the police officer?
No.
And so then you are now standing around behind that group of people, correct?
Correct.
Did you know anybody in that crowd?
My two coworkers.
All right. So right now, if you could just put like a line or a dot on where your two coworkers are. And both of those are individuals who went out during the second trip to the SUV, correct?
Correct.
And did you know any of the other people there in the crowd at the time?
Not at the time.
Okay. Did you know Miss Punari?
I think. Yes.
You know Alyssa Punari?
Yes.
And was she there at the time?
Correct.
You see where she is now?
Correct.
All right. And how did you know her?
Just through school.
And all right, so then let's continue to run Exhibit 33, please.
So right now,
stop right here, please. Can you describe for the jurors and what we're seeing, what's going on there in that segment of the video?
That was when one of the coworkers kind of grabbed up the other coworker and brought him back inside, and I was just yelling like, "Chill out, chill out, chill out."
And so when his coworkers came to get the young man in the white T-shirt, he went with them back into the store.
Correct.
And you were following them?
Correct.
All right, so let's continue to run 33 then. Now, I'm going to pause here for a moment, please. For the record, 82904, can you tell the jurors what happened, what you were doing here, I guess?
At this point, I think I was just kind of emotional, and I went to the African American that was standing there in the curb, and I was just like they're not gonna help him. This is what we have to deal with. So.
Okay.
Sustained.
Yeah,
Don't be stricken.
That's fine. So you had a conversation with another person standing there.
Correct.
And when you walked up there, we saw just before I stopped it, there was a young girl there in a green shirt. Did you see her when you were walking up there?
Correct.
You remember seeing her in the store earlier?
Correct.
Did you know who she was?
No.
And you remember being the cashier when she was in the store earlier?
Correct.
And then can we continue to run Exhibit 33, please?
Okay, guys. So this is some of his testimony. This is the store clerk. Hold on, let me find that where he says that he wishes that he. Hold on, just a second.
The body of a young girl was found this morning.
Excuse me, guys, for all my yawning. For some reason, I'm just sleepy. Okay, so um, let's see here. Okay, here it is.
For a while, correct? Correct. What was going through your mind during that time period?
Disbelief and guilt.
Okay. Why guilt?
If I would have just not taken the bill, this could have been avoided.
We also saw another individual get pushed by an officer, correct?
Correct.
And what did you do after that happened?
I was just trying to calm him down, tell him to stand back.
So, all right, so let's continue running 33 then, please.
Okay, so so right now, so he does feel like if he wouldn't have took the $20, he would have been still here. So that is the store clerk account. If you want to go back and listen to the whole trial to get the store clerk account, go ahead and do that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting a little sleepy and my eyes getting a little dreary now. This man's testimony, and I think this is the last testimony of the day. It was a sad, sad testimony. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the testimony on tomorrow's trials. So when the trial come on tomorrow, we'll see what was talked about. We want to show him. Okay, guys. So what I'm going to do is so I can have a fresh mind. Oh, here it is. So yeah, he does break down. So just allow me a moment. God knows. Here it is, right here. This is a witness breaking down during the trial. He just couldn't take it. So here it is, right here. Hold on just a second. You know we have to do the ads. Okay.
Wait, stop it right here, please. Should we go on? Do you need a minute?
Oh my
We'll just give you a moment, Mr. McGon. I'm not sure if there's water as well. If you need a break to get some water, let me know. We can take a break.
Y'all, this really
May I
helps.
approach your
Hey,
honor?
Chef Disaster, how are you?
Thank you.
You okay?
Okay, guys, so that was one part of the witness. I'm good. Thank you, Chef Disaster. Now that is the older gentleman that testified on today. He gave his account on what happened with, George Floyd. He was the one that said, "Man, don't fight him, because you're not gonna win." And and he didn't win. And so what ended up happening is he just had a breakdown moment. Like, it really traumatized. Let me tell y'all something. When you see someone just die like that, who wouldn't be traumatized? Who would not be traumatized? Who would not break down and cry? Because, like, who would expect something like that? So, thank you, Chef Disaster. So, it is sad. And I pray tomorrow, guys, we're going to look into some more witness statements. And hopefully, guys, we get a guilty verdict of something instead of letting him walk free. Because if he's able to get off, he'll be back on the streets, serving our community as a police officer, killing another black person. Let me just keep it real. So, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm for some reason I'm real sleepy. Like I said, y'all, I may have to change my time to where I'm coming on here at a decent hour, so I won't be so sleepy. But make sure you guys, if you have not hit that like button, hit that like button. If you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you have not joined our family membership, make sure you join the family membership. I'm about to get on out of here, guys. Y'all have a good night. Tomorrow is my last day of work for Thursday. Then my birthday is Friday, guys. Friday, we're going to do a little turn up after I come from being with friends and family for my little birthday dinner. So Friday, get ready for a turn up, okay? We're going to talk about the case tomorrow. We're going to talk further about this case tomorrow. But Friday will be my birthday. I'm not going out of town. So it's just going to be turn up Friday for me. So make sure you guys tune in. Maybe we'll play a little games. Maybe we'll play a little music. And just have a little fun. All right, Chef. So, guys, make sure you have a good night. And I'll see y'all on tomorrow.